Somebody has told me they picked their name, so I did it as a gag on a voicemail, and it literally changed my luck and solved my problems. I'm gonna run it. All right, so let's say we go back to 2004. Then, what happens after your band?
So 2004. So that's it. After the fuck you period, it kind of falls apart because we're all in our fuck you as a collective, but also as individual artists. We're all going in different directions. So this guy wants to do a rock. The drummer, let's say, the other guy wants to go back to jazz. The other guys, and so I get a little bit left behind. But we just naturally break up. There's no discussion about it. And then I was so impressed, and I was so like I had learned so much from these talented musicians that at that point I'm questioning myself, like, am I even a musician? Like, musician, not a rapper or a poet, but a musician. So I had the sequencer machine that I had been fucking around. So I said, fuck, I'm gonna try to do my own beats and do my own demo just to see if I'm a musician, if I can pull it off. So I did a 6-song demo that I went to my keyboard. My keyboardist had from that band had a home studio, and he was actually a professor in sound recording. He's really good. And I did the whole fucking thing on a 16-track sequencer, a Yamaha RM1X, and from a machine from like 2000 or something. And I did all these loops, and very simple. So I would take like 8 tracks for my drums and then 8 tracks for melody. And then the way I would do it is kind of like, let's say there's an intro, it goes to the verse, to the chorus. I would just mute certain elements to transition and progress. So that's the way I figured it out. And then I had this whole little dot. I would just do little dots on a paper, and I had this language to make myself know how I composed it because I didn't know how to write music. So it was like this big process of fucking trying to compose my own music. But I pulled it off, and I went to his studio, and he helped me. He put a little bit of a keyboard on some tracks and a little bit of guitar on some tracks. And then one track, I put samples, voice samples, and I took a VHS cassette, and I went to my girlfriend's house that had cable television because I didn't have it, and I recorded all these little bits of commercials and all stupid things, bits of 2 seconds and stuff, and that's the way I figured out how to sample. So we had to make puzzle pieces of all these little bits on VHS and tell stories with our samples. So anyway, after like a 3-month period of doing that,
Hold
I had
up.
a
So you're
six
saying
song.
like the way that motherfuckers go to YouTube right now and grab a 1-2 thing, YouTube to MP3, load it into the DAW. Because I've never heard this one before, so I get excited when I hear people telling me new creative shit like that. You would load up the TV, watch TV, and wait for the good shit, hit record, and hope it was the good shit.
Well, yeah, I would like do a whole night of like bullshit cable television. There's a lot of infomercials, so they had a lot of like crazy voices and stupid fucking verbal bits. And my rule was don't ever record more than 3 seconds, or it's gonna get too complicated. So yeah, and then I had like 45 minutes of 3-second samples. That was just for one song. So anyway, my friend that recorded it was like the producer. Yeah, he worked a lot on it. He helped me
How
because
did
I
you
was
get?
so.
How do you get the audio off of the VHS?
He figured it out. He put the VHS through some kind of sound card in his computer, and he figured it out. Then he took it all. Then we isolated the sounds we wanted, and then those became puzzle pieces. And then we put the puzzle together to tell stories. Because that song was my last French song I did at that point. Everything else was English, and I had called it Mass Perturbation, which is a wordplay with masturbation. It's a mass traumatism from the mass perturbation. It's a wordplay with masturbation, and it was a song about the negative effect of television. So it worked out very well conceptually, but it was a mess, and I was so naive. But yeah, so we did that song. We did 6
That's like
songs
going
in
super
all.
MF Doomy.
This is this is 2004. This and yeah, I did that demo. So I did that demo with 6 songs, and then the cover was one of my friends that did some collage, like hand drawn stuff, very naive. And then I pressed 50 copies, just like burnt some DVDs. I did some stickers, and I photocopied the cover, and I gave it to like whatever, say QT and a couple of people on the scene. But I mostly gave it to my friends. It wasn't for me about, oh, I'm gonna put this out. It was really about, am I a musician? Can I carry on? Do I have the credibility? Kind of. It was to convince myself. So that was the first thing I did after my first band. Yeah.
So you self-produced the project with some help, just to
And
prove to people you could,
for
just to
myself.
validate.
Yeah.
Well, prove to yourself you could, and then you just made a limited run and gave it to some people, and that was it.
That's it. That came out in 2005, I guess. Yeah.
Does it still exist?
I could find a copy. I think there's like Reverb Nation has 3 of the songs on it.
Hey, Reverb Nation. That's a treasure trove, honestly. I bet everybody's old shit's really buried there. You know what? I should start looking up people's fucking Reverb Nations for this shit. Let's see what the
Word
fuck
up.
I find.
Word up.
That's a great one. Wow, that's incredible. Do you like perform it or anything, or do you just put it out and move on?
I did a couple performances which were really fucking hard to pull off because, like I said, I kind of like would mute elements. So I had 16 tracks, and then let's say the intro comes off, so it comes on. So hi hat. So it's like activate track 1 hi hat, and then bass drum track 3, let's say. And so I had these little codes on a piece of paper next to the machine, and it was dark. And then I kind of highlight activate. So that's the intro, and then beat hits. I have to press 5 buttons at the same time, and then I have to kind of start singing the chorus. And then let's say after the chorus, okay, to the verse. So I have to mute 7 tracks with my fingers, and then I go into it was very hard because it was so fucking like a weird way to make music. But I did like maybe 4 shows, very artsy, like a art exhibit, some community thing, and 2 bars probably. Nothing, never with hip hop artists. It was always with another kind of crowd. It just kind of people asked me to do it, and I guess I did it.
Are you saying that you literally took up like the fucking 16 track machine, hit play on that from the start, just preloaded with your shit ready to go, and then would live mix the song while rapping?
Yeah, that's it. I had to mute and progressively, live. It was super hard.
That's serious. Like when you really, really, really think about it, I feel so spoiled in this era.
I could have told the guy that recorded me to give me instrumental versions and just press play on his CD and just do it. But no, I was like, I couldn't move a lot because I had to stand still next to my machine, and I had to do all this with this little coded language of paper next to me, and then remember the lyrics and be on time. So I don't know why I made it so complicated, but yeah, it was pretty artsy.
Yeah. I don't know if I would recommend that strategy, but it's so impressive still.
No way. Don't recommend it.
So what comes after this art project experiment?
Yeah, so after that, I was working in this bar. I was kind of still in the jazz scene a lot. They had jazz shows, and I started to be friends with some really big names, older people. And my guitar player, well, he wasn't my guitar player. He was a friend that just like, he was a heavy metal guitar player, but he worked with me in the kitchens in this place where there was some live jazz. And he was a fan of what I did, and I liked him a lot. And we went to see James Brown, yeah. So this is like, we went to see James Brown live in Metropolis. This is probably 2006. And great experience. We come out of the James Brown show, and my buddy looks at me, the guitar player, and says, Lucky, we have to start a funk band. I'm like, okay, why not? And then he talked to all these big names. So it was Alex Bellegarde, which is a amazing upright bass player. There was Namori Cizé, that is he's a Congolese drummer that played with Jean Leloup in his big band project. And then just other people. We had Giovanni Ortega, which is a Cuban saxophone player, and we started practicing. First, we started practicing 2 times a week, me and the guitar player, and we composed all the songs. So about 12, 14 songs. He composed all the music, and we arranged together, and I would write to the music. It was very, very much symbiotic, both of us. And then after that 3-month period or 4-month period, we started, because they were very busy people and a little older, and some had families, to integrate on their time for no money these jazz musicians. And then it became just like another level, and that became Lucky Lex and the Adventure. And we went to Studio Victor. Studio Victor was the first studio in Montreal after the Second World War, first studio in Montreal to have been built by a major record company, Victor RCA, after the Second World War. And it was now it's not there anymore, but Studio Victor was one of the most amazing studios in Montreal, and it had this half-cylinder roofs, this wooden half-cylinder technology from the end of the 40s, and the very high roofs, and the sound quality of this studio was fucking amazing. And we had like horn sections, and sometimes just one horn, full band, big drums, a lot of pieces, and upright bass, these crazy funk arrangements, and it was all in English. It was straight up funk with like very energetic hip hop, and it was a little bit of soul influences. And we had Coco Thompson that did some female vocals on it. She was a amazing soul singer. It was fucking great. That music was pretty fucking awesome, and I played a lot with that band. So it came out, and it was some struggle, financing the project and all that, and but finally came out in 2007. So we did that from probably 2007 to 2010 or something. And we play a lot of bars. We play a lot of shows. Like we do at least, well, in the summertime and all that, it was like 2 shows a week. We became a house band for some places, and the players I was playing with were so kind of busy and all that, and living from their music. We all had jobs, so that I couldn't keep up with because sometimes we were like 8 on stage or 9. So I was switching players a lot. In those 3 years, I maybe had 25 players in that band. I made it happen. It was fucking awesome. It was great.
So you coordinated an ongoing open band of funk musicians,
Yeah.
that were like people who were names, and then you rapped, and you guys first put together this project, and then you kept it alive. Like you're basically one of them old-timey big band dudes, but in Montreal in 2007 or 8.
Yeah, 2007 to 2010. And I went to get a sponsorship from Lucky 7 T-shirts, so we all had that gear on stage. And we a little bit a little influenced by George Clinton and stuff, so we dress very colorful and very loud and stuff. It was very much an homage to James Brown and George Clinton, and our love for jazz, soul, and funk especially, and that energy, that funk energy. So yeah, that was great. That was really fun. We played a lot live. We had a lot of fun. That was great.